Welcome to the Freddie Kissoon Show. Bring it!
Let me ask you this question. I would like to ask the AG to propose legislation for what we call small claims court. There are lots of poor people, to an example you just gave, that they have issues with others and sometimes with large firms, but the lawyer fee is greater than the fee you're claiming.
It is their
right.
Unlike the right that someone has, all of our rights exist in context.
What is the context of a second medical opinion?
Because you're disrespecting the process.
No.
Jesus, this is common sense, man.
Any situation which you seem to do, you're just dealing with Afro-Guyanese issues. If one, you can't bring and pull the leaders of the African community together, you're failing. And if two, you can't put forward a vision, a blueprint, and a plan for African Guyanese, you're failing as well.
Hi there. Good evening. Pleasant Wednesday evening to you. This is the middle of the week. Oh my goodness, the traffic is very, very terrible. Twice I stopped at a pedestrian crossing for people, and the person on my left just drove through. Could have killed those people. Where are the cameras? But what Leonard, Craig, and I will do is what we haven't been doing for a couple of weeks. We introduced this format about 5 or 6 months ago, in which we will, as two academics, people involved in politics, we will analyze the contents of Guyana, look at trends, look at disturbing directions. But we haven't been doing that because the guests we keep having. So this hour, we're going to look at things in Guyana, offer you our interpretation. And the first one, I'm asking you to raise your voice, raise your pen, and stop this class advantage and class disadvantages in Guyana. Under the laws of every country, we are equal. If you have to wear white shirt only to enter building, it must be for everyone. Look at this. And then go back 2.5 years and see. I campaigned on the Freddie Kissoon show for this absurdity to come to an end. Look at what I'm going to put on the screen. I'm keeping it for a couple of seconds. And before Craig come in, I'm going to put it up again. Let me read the headline. City removes illegal encumbrances at Universal Church. City Council officials yesterday moved illegal encumbrances from the parapet in front of the Universal Church on Charlotte Street, Georgetown. The incident captured in video circulated online prompted the immediate intervention of the City Engineers Department. Where the hell was the City Engineers Department? Where the hell was the City Engineer Department when we put encumbrances like this? 2.5 years ago on this program, 3 times. 3 times. Let us show you what we featured about encumbrances, stopping people from parking, people taking over the government of Guyana parapets in the most barefaced way, stopping people from parking. But they're rich and they're powerful. Let me show you now what we featured 2.5 years ago, that only on Monday City Council got sense, or got common sense, or got decency, and ran to a place to remove these encumbrances. Operator, show the world what we have featured 2.5 years ago. Do you see how long the length those cones are in front of Banks DIH, beginning from Meadowbank right straight down to Mandela Avenue? The police didn't put it there. City Council didn't put it there. God didn't put it there. President Trump didn't put it there. President Putin didn't put it there. Nobody in Guyana put it there. Banks DIH put these cones there, and they've been having them there for years. What happened at Universal Church at Charlotte and Wellington Street is baby play compared to what you see Banks DIH has done there. Look what Banks DIH has done there. So I drove to park. You told me I can't park. I brought the traffic chief of a country to tell a company they can't do that. They had that man waiting, looking through the surveillance camera and never turned up. That was 2.5 years ago. Guess what? We featured that thing 3 times on this program. Now, the encumbrance that you see, that jungle that you see, you know where it is? A corner from here. We at Leluni and Irving. That jungle is at Leluni and Peter Rose Street, right opposite a very well patronized private school. And no parent can park there because the entire parapet from Anaira to Leluni is taken up by this prominent woman. And the city council, you know, I want to use the word beginning with J. But I know Mr. Mentor, the mayor, personally, the past 10 years. I know the town clerk, very pleasant woman. And she promised 2.5 years on this program, she will move those encumbrances. Suddenly somebody said, Eureka, Eureka, and went and discovered that the encumbrances outside a building called Universal Church at Wellington and Charlotte Street and move them. Are they going to move those things we just showed you on the screen? Well, the Guyanese people have a blank check now. You can't have those things on the pavement. So here what I'm suggesting to you before Quack comes in. Contact the city council, contact the police, and say you want to park and move those tires. Move those no parking signs. But do it within the law. When I go to my vet, there's a man build a house and the wide long parapet, a whole set of tires. And you have your pet there and you can't drive to see. The Guyanese people now have a blank check to move those encumbrances because the city council moved it from Universal Church and said that it's illegal. This is my column for today, Wednesday. Please read my column today, and I have written about this. This nonsense that the city council stopped on Monday, they had a right to do it. The man had a right to park there, and it must go for everyone. It must go for the billionaires, the trillionaire company. It must go for everyone. If city council doesn't do it, I hope Universal Church invoke God and God deal with the city council. Over to Craig.
The issue, Freddie, is a little deeper than that. And as you said, this thing should go across the board. I have had several run-ins with people who put encumbrances on the street. And for me, I am not a confrontational person. If I show up somewhere and there is parking, I will park. But if there is no parking available and somebody got a drum or whatever they have in front of where I will come out my vehicle, I'll move it, I'll park, and when I'm ready to go, I go. Regardless of what is the outcome. If the person want to come and fight me, whatever it is, I am fearless where that is concerned, and I've been asserting my right to do that ever since. I don't mince matters with that. But the issue is a little deeper than that, Freddie. Guyana is the only country, and I'm not saying this to boast, but I've visited over 20-something countries in my life. And
don't sound like Terence Campbell.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it to boast, but I'm saying
say that.
But I'm saying it just to make a little comparison. And I've never seen people just come with a big truck and dump sand and just leave it there for months and months and months.
You can.
You can't. In some cases, not only that you can't. It takes up the pavement, it takes up the parapet, and takes up part of the road. And these sand stay there for sometimes people buy an entire truckload of sand. They only need a quarter or a half, and they finish their construction project, and the rest of the sand is left there for months and months and months, and trees start growing out of the sand and grass and all of that. And it speaks to a culture that needs to be changed. And Guyana, I'm saying this, there's solid studies around the world that culture and development goes hand in hand. We can have a destructive culture to our own development. And this is one of the destructive cultures we have in Guyana. You go in America or wherever, and you see people building 50-story building, and they don't get sun. And sometimes people building a little shed, a little dark pen, and they gotta accumulate all of this sand.
But what is interesting to note is if you put in a building up, City Council divides Georgetown. Mm-hmm. A man runs South Georgetown, a man runs Kingston. You putting up something, and a guy comes and say, "Can I see a permit, please?" Mm-hmm. What? And he would see, the person got a permit. You have to stop. Mm-hmm. But they would see these encumbrances.
Yeah.
They would see all over Georgetown.
And the other thing about that, Freddie, is that the city council is crying out for source of income. And they got sources of income lie down all over the city, all these derelict vehicles that got big trees growing out of them. People just park their vehicle on the roadside and just leave it for months, for years. And all of these things are sources of income. You know, they got a law. A lot of people may not know. And please, I can't quote the exact law right now, but I think it's in chapter 2801 under the municipal and district council raft of legislation. But there is such a thing as having a dirty yard. If your yard is too dirty, or if it's overgrown, the city council could lay a charge against you, could lay a fine. And if you are not satisfied with that, you can go to court to have the fine removed. But the city council could levy a fine if your yard is too dirty. The city council could charge you if your yard is too dirty. But all of these things, so what I'm pointing to, Freddie, is that there is a larger thing than what happened. I mean, this here, I hear what you're saying. There's another perspective that I have with respect to this issue. The issue is that this thing was highlighted. It was live on Facebook. The city council saw the confrontation, and somebody was dispatched. Once an officer is dispatched, they cannot then turn away. Right? They cannot then turn away. They have to enforce before turning away. But again, I support what Freddie is saying, that we got to enforce this thing across the board. We got to be a law-abiding society.
I am contending that this is child's play.
Yes, to a lot of what we see around the town.
I just showed you. Look, operator, please put back that thing again. Please put back that thing again. Look at what we're going to show you. And you see this is nothing. Look at these cones, look.
Oh, that's Meadowbank turn.
Right, Meadowbank turn, yeah. Goes Banks DIH put this thing outside Tourist Park. So if you get a flat tire, where you going to pull in? Where you going to pull in, Craig? Please put the one up the street here. Craig, Craig, that.
All these things.
Look at the cinema thing look at Universal Church thing compared to that.
Yeah.
The man still moved the thing and park at Universal Church. Where you gonna park here?
Yeah, the other thing about this also is more than just parking, because, for example, depending on how the city is coded, you can very well have a nice flat clear parapet and parking is still prohibited, right? Based on the zoning of the city and so on. So the issue is beyond parking. The issue is that we have to respect the laws on the books. And this particular law speaks to the order of society, the orderliness of our city, and stuff like that. And if we can't get order, basic human everyday order, we are going to destroy any gains we make with respect to development. So for example, well, just before you come,
yeah, go ahead.
You throw the sand on the road. You know how many ill effect the sand have? Put the sand there, the wind carry the sand in people's homes and all of that. The side of the road is then you make the road narrower, because the sand then spread and the grass grows further onto the road.
Yeah.
The motorist who is driving doesn't know there's more road in the corner, and they stick, right? And they narrow the road, and that you know how many people lose mirror? You drive in and one person's mirror hit another person's mirror and all those kinds of things. Yeah.
What I don't understand is how the city council, as we talked Wednesday evening, I would like to know what they did Tuesday, what they did today, Wednesday, and what will they do tomorrow. And Leonard Craig, I am telling you, let us just take a friendly bet. And I call anybody to take a friendly bet. Let us see when those things we showed you are going to move. I am saying they're not going to move.
Yeah.
Because when city council notify banks DIH first, look, there's complaint about these cones you put there, and from there, something is going to happen. Something is going to happen. They're going to go to this well-to-do lady, and then this well-to-do, they're going to say, "Madam, you have to clear this thing," and that well-to-do lady going to make a call, and that's the end of it. Universal Church people couldn't make any call. Because
they couldn't, because it was an issue that shocked the conscience of the nation there and then. So there wasn't even any room for that, because it was something rolling live and people saw it as, I think the response of the pastor angered people. And that shocked people's conscience, and city council probably said, we're not going to stand for this. But I believe had his approach been a little different, city council would not have show up.
Because this all over Guyana.
Yeah.
You have to see what a man in Pashad Nagar did. This man's house takes up the parapet east of his house, west of his house, and north of his house. And this man, and there's a huge place, and it's right next to a block from the vet. This man put tires all over, not near to his gate, and so you still left in place for his guests to come. The entire parapet. What in heaven's name could you do that to a parapet which is not in your transport?
Yeah.
When the fire service going and it's blowing and the ambulance is blowing, you could move in the parapet to let the ambulance pass. Look at that thing that we showed you at Banks DIH. So you're driving in here, flat tire. You just pull in. You can't pull in there. How the city council and the government of Guyana could allow that. And we put this thing for 2.5 years on this program. You said the cameras were rolling at that incident at Charlotte Street at Universal Church. Look, the cameras rolling now.
Right.
And we're showing you what is going on. We are rolling, the cameras are rolling. And
Right.
I know what I'm going to do though. I have Candace, the town clock thing in my phone. I have Alfred, the mail thing in my phone. Before I move those things, I am going to call them. You can't, there's no parking. This is a animal loving country. You should see the amount of people at the vets. And this man got a park.
Yeah. And city council has so much power that city council don't even have to give you notice once you encumber parapet.
No, that's an illegal act. Right. They come
Yeah,
and move.
city council could just drive up with a tractor and move everything without notice, not even a minute
Right,
of
there's
notice.
like no parking zone.
If you give
the police
notice,
come and move your car.
if you give notice, it's courtesy. Further, city council has the power to not only move, but to charge you a fee for having the thing moved. Right? City council could levy a fee on you. So, for example, the garden you showed just now.
On
City
the
council
parapet.
could come and weed
Clear-
that down,
yeah.
clear it out, and then present you with a bill. And if after a time you don't pay it, then they can take it to court, or then they can levy against your property.
Leonard Craig. What kind of country we living in?
Yeah.
Look what that lady did with that the garden. And a man selling dog food. You're blocking the pavement.
Yeah.
You're blocking the parapet. Selling dog food to make a living.
So what I'm saying is that
I wish I was young again, man.
what I'm saying is that there's the larger issue to culture, because that happened in front of the Universal Church is a little band-aid that you putting on a big wound, and it's just not going to work.
I'm going to keep this thing till the program finish.
We gotta have a comprehensive program that touches everybody. That like touches everybody. The government gotta tell itself that I know they're gonna call and they're gonna ask you for relief. They're gonna ask you for exception. And the president just got to lay out the rule of the law, no exception. Let everybody pull in, everybody fit the bill, and so on. Let me just share with you an incident that occurred. Where Justice Yonette Cummins live, somewhere in Campbellville. I'm not going to identify the specific location, but she lives in Campbellville, not far from where a branch of one of the churches I attend. And I went to church, and the street is a little narrow. And
you don't tell people the church you attend, Seventh-day Adventist.
Yeah, and the street is a little narrow, and it was church day, a lot of cars were parked. And I saw
know the street very well,
and I saw this nice parapet, and I went to park there.
The security came out.
And when I parked, no, the security was there. I can see the security, but I don't know. Apparently, her head was in the phone, and she didn't see me park there. And when I already parked and come out of my vehicle and start walking towards the church, then she said, sir. Yeah. And I said, man, look how long I parked there. I took a phone call, all of that. And you won't say anything to me. You wait till I lock up my car and go. And same time, Justice Cummins came out to the front door and said, Craig, why you park in front of my place? You can't park there. And so on.
Yeah,
she's
a judge.
Yeah, she said, right. And that's why I brought this up. To explain that there are some citizens based on their functions in society.
Of course. Diplomats and judges.
And so on. They have an exception.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course, the Chief Justice will have an exception.
They have an exception for several reasons, security reasons and many other things.
But well, Leonard, just before forgetting me mention, that lady is perhaps one of the best legal brains in the world.
Justice Cummins?
Yeah. That's not the Chief Justice?
You talking about the current?
I'm talking about what's the lady that is very, very good. She's very independent and very good. That's Roxanne George.
Roxanne George.
Oh, I mixed up.
I was talking about Janet Cummins.
Who was retired.
Yes, who requested early retirement the other day. Right? But I'm just saying this to say that there are very few people in society who got an exception.
Yeah, but embassies got that.
Outside of that exception, I don't think, but I should end that by saying she allowed me to park because she saw what was going on in the street and there was no other parking. And she said, I know you and just park and move on. But apart from that, I think it should be applied across the board, and the government and government officers and so on. You just got to hold. It's for the betterment of all Guyana. Just hold, just bite.
But it's philosophical
and
decency.
And when people call and say, there should be all I got is 2 tires. No, exactly. And it's going to be for the benefit of all Guyana. And I think we should make one bad job, not our mind, have the political will, and move through with it. Okay, and get Guyana clean and nice.
In case you didn't see my Chronicle column today, it's about this. Let me inform you what happened with me and my crusade against this. Hand in hand, the insurance company put no parking signs on the government pavement opposite the Bank of Guyana. And I looked at this thing and going to the post office to Michael Carrington, AFC vice chairman. I said, what nonsense is this? This is the pavement. I moved it. Next thing I see 2 security come out. I said, this is illegal. You can't stop people from parking on this pavement here. I drove away and I went to Ivlery. They sent 2 ranks, including the inspector. We asked to see the manager. She came out and And the inspector said, but madam, that is public property. You can't stop people from parking there. They're not parking on private property. That was about 6 years ago. Do you know, hand in hand? Just wait in the morning, Thursday morning, and go and see hand in hand have those signs there. Good. I described that in my column today. What I described in my column today is I went to Border Green to buy vegetables. 7 o'clock in the morning, I parked at Steve's Jewelry opposite Border Green. Security come and say, you can't park here. That's customers parking. I said, but it's 7 o'clock. The store hours is open from 9.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do at Border Green for 2 hours? He said, no, we can't park. It's customers parking. I drove away, went to Alberton. Alberton sent a rank and said, no. Told him plain, security. No, the security called the owner. And the owner and the police started to talk. And the owner told him, I'm there, I'm making a complaint. And the owner gave way because the police told him, you can't stop the people from parking there. Your store isn't open as yet. That is in my column today, and I should have brought my column today. There is so much of disadvantages going on with working people. How you gonna move the man selling dog food? How you gonna move the lady that got your little icicle there? And you're moving. Craig, let's move on, man.
Yeah.
One thing before we move on, Craig. You got to nip this thing in the bud. I don't know if you know it. People put in large speakers at the back of their car.
Yeah.
And this thing has become a nightmare now for students studying, for elder people sleeping. I was driving down Mandela and this man was in front of me. Leonard, Craig, he could not hear when an ambulance or a police siren passing.
Yeah.
He could.
Yeah, I think
Why
that is
allowed
allowed in private vehicles based on the law, I think.
No, there's a law concerning decibels in public.
Oh yes. Well, that, yeah.
Yes,
You can't
18 decibels.
amplified music.
Over 18 is illegal.
Right. You're right. But I don't think that's in the traffic law. That's another law that concerns maybe environment or something.
Yeah.
But traffic-wise, I think you can put certain amplified music, but of course not beyond
the decibels.
Right. In your vehicle, but you can't do it in public transportation.
Okay.
Like buses. One last thing.
Yeah. Before we
which comes off of this universal church thing. Though you can't stop people from parking. And though you I think churches, mosques, temples, and such buildings should be allowed free reign of parking during the hours of service. So, for example, what I'm saying, these places should publish their hours of service, and once the hour of service is there, the entire width of the parapet should be granted to them during that period of time, right? Because I mean, it's a common sense thing to do. It's a respectful thing to do, and I think the law should be updated to reflect that. So the churches, mosques, temples must publish, as a matter of statute, publish their hours of service, and during those hours of service, they should be allowed free reign of parking in that vicinity. And then when that time is passed, then general public could come and park. And I think that is what should obtain.
Okay, let me ask you something. Are you going to be in the country in Guyana Monday?
Surely.
Well, we're coming here on Monday. And let me tell, Alfred is my friend a long time. Let me tell the town clerk, a lady I like and respect. Next Monday, we are going in another few days and see if Banks DIH have those cones, and see if that garden on the pavement at Peter Rose Street in Lalouni still is there. We're going to film it if it's there, and we're presenting this Monday at our call-in before we take calls. So I'm alerting the government of Guyana, specifically the Ministry of Public Works, the City Council, that we're coming with this issue Monday. We want to see if fairness is going to be applied. Having said that, I want to delve into the area of raw politics. Some people, Elsie Harry, who's someone I know and have a healthy respect for, Leonard knows her. She got on Facebook, David Hines got on Facebook, and they could, particularly David Hines was saying, what is Priya Manikchan doing in Tiger Bay?
Get out.
Why Priya Manikchan cannot be in Tiger Bay? Who the hell is David Hines to tell an educated lawyer and an experienced minister of this country that she can't go in Tiger Bay?
I didn't see the Elsie Harry piece. I don't know.
What is wrong with this fine citizen of Guyana? What is wrong with her that she cannot be in Tiger Bay? David, I tell the woman to get out.
You see this thing, and I want to remind David Hines. I want to remind Terence Campbell and others. I don't know that Elsie Harry is in politics, so I'm not going to touch that. But I'm touching the people who are political leaders and represent historic, both the WPA that Hines represent, and now clearly Campbell represents thing. I am saying to you flatly that your approach is wrong. Your approach has caused they have been on this bandwagon for upwards of 10 years. This racist bandwagon. And it has not worked. It led to the party moving from the lowest amount of seats the PNC ever had on its own. I think it's 24. And so if we say 24, we use that as the benchmark. They have moved from 24
to 12,
all the way to 12 in half.
50%.
Your support base is cut in half. And if anybody who study economic theory and some amount of general social science, and you study statistics and so on, there is something that is called, in organization, there's something that is called a critical mass. When you lose a critical mass, Your organization is done, you know. Ask WPA, and that is why I don't believe that the AFC could recover.
Yeah, when you lose a critical mass, you're finished with it.
Unless AFC reform and bring in probably new an injection of thing and rebuild that critical mass, a new face, a new something. It's like when Obama showed up for the Democratic Party. Well, the Democratic Party wasn't. That's a bad example because they weren't faced with that issue of losing their critical mass. But all I'm saying, the reason I brought up Obama brought a fresh injection,
Mandami,
right, into the party. Unless they have that to rebuild your critical mass, and the PNC members who care about the PNC do not allow Campbell and Hines to destroy your historic party. That same rhetoric, that Campbell rhetoric, that attacking people left, right, and center.
Personally.
And personal attacks left, right, and center. This generation.
Fat-shaming people.
This generation of people, young people don't like that. This generation of people and want to engage on a different level and look at the people who attack people personally. They have a captive audience, small audience, and these people cheer them on all the time, and they believe that this is the entirety of the country, when the mainstream, the rest of the country, other than those fringe elements that cheer you on all the time, the rest of the country don't like that. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to participate in it. And you're going to continue to lose, because now that you have another party, another opposition party that people believe is viable, then their reason for holding on to you is no longer, because this racial sentiments is not as strong and appealing to anybody. And so when this issue with David Hines and talking about Tiger Bay, you're flogging a dead horse. There are so many more issues that, Freddie, if I were in the opposition, there's 100 other issues relating to Tiger Bay that you could attack the government on, if you put it in proper perspective. And if you are doing politics and you put these things in perspective and bring people along with you on a discussion, you could win more friends and admirers than this crass racial invective and telling the minister who I mean,
go and take your campaign elsewhere. Why she can't go on Tiger Bay?
It's just sad. For me, it's just sad.
Let me tell you what my analytical mind is telling me, and it's something I wish wouldn't happen. I wish I have the best intention toward Anil Nandlal. I think Mr. Nandlal is going to be the PPP's presidential candidate in 2020, and if I still have health, I will campaign for him, vote for him. But I would not like the PPP to be the only party in Guyana, that only party, and by acclamation become the government because there's no contestant. It happened with Mia Motley in Barbados. I think there's a value, very strong philosophical value in having an opposition. Even the people voted for them, so we must respect them. And I have a feeling with David Hines, Aubrey Norton, and Terence Campbell, if the three of them stay on for another 3-4 years, I think wind is going to fall up. Mr. Awazin Mohammed is not going to survive that extradition treaty. The United States knew what they were doing. They probably got their high-priced lawyers, and they've got the evidence. And I think wind is just generally going to fizzle out. You're going to find the parliamentarians not going to parliament. They're going to have to provide for their own families, what have you. The money isn't going to come in, and it's a foundation built on one thing, one pillar there. And if that pillar goes, the whole thing goes. And that pillar is Azzuddin Mohammed and his money. If Terence Campbell and David Hines go like that, you may very well end up with the PPP getting about, first they're going to get a 2/3 majority and getting near to 60 seats. Because as they fizzle out, you're going to really have only one viable major party with charismatic, acceptable people. And you're going to have a man like Nandlal in 2020 who's charismatic, who can speak. I think Nandlal is one of the brightest lawyers in the world. So what is sad about it is we may well end up in 2030 with the mere motley, the Barbadian syndrome, in which an opposition just lose outright, and you have this one party that win outright. Craig, with the nonsense that's going on in the PNC, that's not a scenario to dismiss.
Right. Or there could be another charismatic person who comes up, because I think there is an appetite out there for...
Will they allow him or her?
Yeah, no. I'm saying there is an appetite out there for
new faces.
There is an appetite that if even if the PNC don't get their act together, those persons may not vote for the PPP, but they might stay home, for example, which would result in what you're saying anyway, if they stay home. But all I'm saying is there is that appetite, and people prefer to exercise the taste for the appetite they have. And somebody who is charismatic, maybe Amanza Walton Desir might increase seats. Who knows what can come up, but the appetite is there, and the people got to do the right thing. And I'm saying right now, the PNC, APNU lead people are not doing the right thing.
It doesn't look good though.
They're not.
It doesn't look good
doing the right.
It doesn't look good with Campbell.
No,
Campbell is Campbell is a form of Abu Norton.
Yeah.
Ganesh Mahipal. Sherwood Duncan.
No, Ganesh Mahipal miles ahead of Campbell, man. I won't even put. I won't put Ganesh Mahipal.
Okay, I withdraw that. I think Ganesh is more. And Ganesh is more respectful.
Very conversant, very respectful,
Right.
One time he was out of character when he said something about Priya, and he apologized profusely. And
but the thing is, how could he become the parliamentary leader and fat shaming people? Fat shaming a person who've contributed to get a woman as a minister for 15 years now. She's a lawyer. She comes from a business family. It's not nobody he's talking about. Man, have more respect for the woman who has two sons, man. Whose husband is a long-serving officer in the army.
Saying
that
not a single one of those words are his words. It's like
he's
when
ignorant.
It's like when Trump posted Trump made a post, a repost you call it, where somebody made an AI video where they're dumping fecal matter on the last large protest that US had. And Trump just retweeted it. So Trump could just go and tell people, oh, that's not my picture. Nothing of it. I didn't had no word in it. You understand?
But he's ignorant.
It shows, yes.
Campbell's ignorant of the laws of libel.
It shows a lack of. I don't think he got it together.
He's ignorant of laws because if somebody posts a minister with a whole set of money, right? Post a company CEO giving a minister a whole set of money, right? And you repost that. You have promulgated a libel.
It becomes your word because it means you just endorse.
I can't understand a man who says a document.
And then understand exactly. That. And if you read through the thing and you see that it contains these things and you repost it, it you adopt the words, but you just acknowledge your source. That is all it means. And I don't understand. And these guys want to hold themselves up as leaders, and these are the guys these are the guys who want to criticize.
Campbell's the wrong man for politics. Campbell should go.
I mean, I can't understand. And the people who care about the PNC, some of the long-serving, long-standing
it don't
people
seem they care.
have to come together and if they got revolt or whatever, but they got to seize their party back from this I don't know how to describe Campbell, but he's just not worthy of the what was bestowed upon him freely, right? You know, a lot of people labor in politics, and he got a bestowment freely. And this is how he is carrying himself. It is the worst.
He refused to say when he joined the PNC.
Yeah, it's the worst level of leadership the PNC ever had. I used to think that Norton was the worst, and I wrote about it, and I said Norton is this is far worse.
Campbell.
Far worse.
But
and the PNC should rescue their party from these people.
They should rescue their party from Sherrod Duncan,
David Hines, and Terence Campbell.
And Abby Norton should go.
Well,
if they could move those four people and get somebody that goes across the spectrum, race, business, religion, that
this lawyer, like him or not, he get better temperament. Not Dexter Todd. Dexter Todd is like a shade after, the others. But Roysdale Ford, that's a good temperament. It's a pity they chased off Amanza. It's a pity they chased off Amanza.
Roysdale Ford,
they got better leadership temperament and our friend Ganesh Mahipal got good. And these are people who they got rescued.
But Ganesh must be reeling though. You got to give Ganesh some time to recover. Ganesh was up there next to Norton. Next, Joretta is the prime ministerial candidate, and bap after the election, Terence Campbell parliamentary leader. How they could do that to Ganesh? Man? I mean, he didn't deserve that. He stood there and how you gonna put Joretta Finance in front of a PNC stalwart, and he qualifies because of ethnicity. You need a balance. And they just plucked Joretta Finance, whose politics was the AFC. But pluck her and bring her in the party and give her a seat in it. Bring her, make her the prime ministerial candidate. Now, Ganesh, I've known you a long time since you were a student at UG. They should not have done you that. No, you deserve better. Roysdale Ford should have been the leader of the PNC. Let me tell you what Roysdale Ford did. And I said it on the Freddie Kissoon show, and I will say it again. I took UG to court because a parent with tears in his eyes complained that his daughter was overlooked for admission into the law school. And a friend who didn't have the grades because they were in class together. So I took the university to court. And the judge probably didn't like me. He said I should have sued not the head of the law department, but the dean of the faculty. And that man put a whopping cost on me. And I appealed it. And Roysdale Ford defied Rex McKay. Right?
He was in Rex McKay's office at the time.
Rex McKay was defending her, right? Roysdale Ford defied Rex McKay when and agreed with my lawyer and Nandlal for a $50,000 thing. And when Roysdale Ford went back, Rex McKay blasted him. And I respected Roysdale Ford from that day on. It shows that he had a conscience.
Yes, and it shows that he's built up good stuff.
If the PNC is listening, put forward. You may have a problem with Amanza Walter. May say she left, she gone, Ford never left. Stop this nonsense and save your party. Where is Basil Williams? Where is Joe Harmon? Where is David Granger? Where is Carl Greenidge? Where are these people?
Annette Ferguson,
Save your
Chris
party.
Jones and all these.
Save your party.
Come together and save
No,
your party.
that Amerindian guy. I knew him when he was a student at UG. Marvin Williams.
Marvin Williams that resigned the other.
Those people.
Y'all, Gary Bess and others.
Yeah. Bess just got a PhD.
Yeah, rescue your party from
Edward
these
Collins,
people.
who headed the GDF.
Rescue your party from these destructive people.
Eddie Collins from the army.
Otherwise, the PNC, the historic party, as they call it, the party of Forbes Burnham, Darren Wade, rescue your party from these people. I don't want to use descriptives because I'm not in the name calling business, but
Darren, don't abuse nobody personally and call them big.
No, that is what I'm saying.
Darren,
you would never get that from Roysdale Ford and that.
No, Ford would never fat shame anybody. He's a very quiet spoken, decent man. But
and for example, Sherrod Duncan sat on his program for years, ringing a bell and calling people Trench Crapo and Jagabat. And what it results in is 12 seats.
But you heard what he said about the High Commission, the five friendly countries that Guyana has that is very endearing to Guyana. It's the US, Canada, the UK, Cuba, China, and India. 6. Guyana would never turn its back on those 6 countries, and those 6 countries would not turn their back on Guyana. And you know what Duncan said about the High Commission during the 2020? He took in that position because he developed. I don't want to go further. That's how he spoke about the High Commission. And if you know the man, and a very likable very likable diplomat. That has an attachment to Guyana.
It's up to those PNC people, and the reason why we're commenting is because we're commenting on general politics in Guyana, and you have to respect institutions in the country. And PNC is an institution, and as you said earlier, none of us wants to see a complete domination by one party. Right. Even though we support the party, we want the best and the strongest growth for it. But I don't think it's the best thing for Guyana if one party gets 60 seats in parliament.
It cannot be. It cannot be.
You need some sort of opposition of some sort.
And it don't look like you're going to have... I want Anil to win the presidency in 2030.
But I doubt whether Anil himself,
would want the PNC to disappear.
Whether the PNC or other, I don't think Anil himself wants to rule a country with zero or with just people occupying seats. And it seems as though...
Who didn't speak to in parliament to impress?
Exactly.
Remember when you go in parliament and you're facing the opposition, you gotta be a best.
Yeah. And right now,
Campbell can abuse people in parliament.
I really don't know.
Campbell can abuse. If Campbell could fat shame people,
it's just the worst. It's just the worst I've seen in my short life. It's just the worst I've seen. Just the worst.
The man dressed in 3-piece suit and said, "This is me," and got you on word job.
Yeah. Then nobody's.
Man say he buy a book for $900.
No. But I am okay with that. People, I've never put myself out there as better than anybody else, and so if Campbell thinks he's better than I am, so be it. That is him. He beat his drum and go in his corner.
But why Nigel don't speak to him? Why Nigel don't tell him that's not the way to go? You just enter politics. Try to win over people.
Yeah.
All religions, all cultures. Try to get into them. Attend Hindu Jandis. Go to Muslim thing. When the Africans got the Holocaust thing on the seawall, go there. Be seen to be hugging up businessmen. Right?
No, so what happened with these? What happened with these guys? How their skin so thin? What happened with these guys is that you cannot have an alternative view, and at the moment you have an alternative view, you know they got the movie Marked for Death. You are marked, and that's it. They can't even have a conversation with you. And the Aubrey Norton thing, Aubrey Norton can't even find the courage to shake hands, to have a conversation.
And pass that disease on to Shama Solomon.
And now they they want to have a conversation with Win, and because they have hardened themselves so much that they can't even take, as much as they only have 12 seats in parliament, they should have been taking leadership in the opposition, but they can't find a proper strategy to take leadership because these guys have associated themselves, they have ingrained themselves into this concept of not talking to people who on the other side of the table.
But there's a missing link. The operator say we got 5 minutes more to go. There's a missing link we have to discuss. Priya Manik Chan, he was saying she shouldn't have gone to a black community. David Hines.
And then if she goes only to East Indian communities, it's something again. Yeah.
An East Indian woman went to Tiger Bay. But Aswaddin Mohammed is going all over black villages.
Yeah.
You know what You know what Aswaddin Mohammed did? Now you from Barbies, please describe it. I am saying this is a black African Guyanese church. All its parishioners, all the parsons are black. Not even like complexion. It is regarded as a black Christian church. That Aswaddin was honored by that church and went in there and was treated magnificently. And you hear what Aswaddin Mohammed doing in the black church. I believe that man, I don't want to use the word, I believe something is going on with Win and the PNC. I think there's some patronage going on there.
Yeah.
Now they're too silent on what Mohammed is doing.
Yeah.
And they're too silent on the African embrace of something is wrong. Something is wrong there.
But I think their hatred is just for everything PPP regardless. And that is not a good way to run an opposition. You just hate for anything you hate and label. And but Tiger Bay predates the PPP. Tiger Bay, I know Tiger Bay there before 1992.
What you talking about Tiger Bay, the PPP? What happened to what happened to Simona Booms
and David before 1992?
Do you know what was David Hines' job in the APNU AFC government? His job was responsible for places like Tiger Bay under Amna Ali. David Hines was directly in charge of improving the lots of people like Tiger Bay. He was a project officer in Ministry of Communities. David Hines had that big job. And you know, he haven't told people that at all. He hasn't told people that at all. Why people don't chase this man and chase them when people know what's the history? But you know, to beat the Sarah Buhari in today's paper Wednesday, replied to Minister of Governance and Parliamentary Affairs, Gator Chew, and said, now that you know how the Guyana Human Rights Commission is constituted, please bring into being, demanding it. And she was a minister in the APNUFC government that did not bring it into being. Oh man, have little decency and say, well, we should have brought it in, but this is what happened. Give an explanation, man, Craig.
Yeah. And and that is how the cookie crumbles. I guess we got to go now. No, we got 1 minute left.
Yeah.
When you think of national politics, it just boggles the mind. And there is so much to unpack around some of these things.
A minute going, so
that happened.
I want to tell you something that happened. We had as our guest the acting chairman of ANUG, Mr. Jonathan Sabayan, and he said things that contradicted his predecessor, Dr. Mark France. So we thought in the interest of politics and the obligation to the Guyanese people, we'll have both of them. Jonathan Sabayan said he consulted his executive, and the executive doesn't want him and Dr. Mark France to sit down and have a discussion. And France is a well-known medical doctor, former head of ANUG, and is a member of ANUG. So the executive of ANUG doesn't want the leader or one of his members to sit down at the Most Looked Talk Show program to discuss politics for their supporters. Leonard Craig, what kind of opposition people we have in this country?
Yeah, it's just sad when you think of it, when you try to unpack
we gotta
it
go.
and all of that. It's extremely.
We started our program with how the city council moved encumbrances and parapets at the Universal Church at Wellington and Charlotte Street. They say you can't encumber the parapet to stop people from parking. We showed you encumbrances on this program. We will bring this topic again on Monday night when is the call in. And we're asking the Ministry of Public Works and City Council to remove the encumbrances put there by the rich, the poor, anybody, whether they're Hindu, Muslim, Christian, or whatever. Move those encumbrances and don't show favoritism. We will see you on Friday evening. We will have a guest then. On behalf of our operators and then Craig, my co-host, catch you later. Bye-bye.